Alright, I don't know about you, but I'm ready for the Galar region. Aside from all the awesome new Pokemon and characters Sword and Shield will offer, I'm also excited about what possible returning characters we might get. Almost every Pokemon game finds some kind of way to bring back a few characters, and just when you think there won't be any, you're like, what?
What are you doing here?
So in this video, I'll be giving you 10 characters I want to see return in Pokemon Sword and Shield. I'll be going over them in order of who I expect to see in the games to those who I just think would be really cool to see return. So let's get started with probably the most obvious returning character, Looker. Now this isn't someone I'm dying to see come back, but it's one that I think will be in the new games. Looker has appeared at least once in every generation since its introduction in Pokemon Platinum, especially for the new regions, so Looker will definitely be in the Galar region in some shape or form. But if he does reappear, can we please do something a little more interesting with him? The more he kept showing up, the more annoying and useless he became. I mean, he was useful in Pokemon Sun and Moon, but that was during the uninteresting Ultra Beast post-game, and when the post-game does become better in the Ultra games, you know, now that we have access to Ultra wormholes and other worlds, Looker has nothing to do with it. Looker is already a Sherlock Holmes-esque character, so the Galar region would be the perfect place to flesh him out more and make him at least a little bit more interesting. Number 2 is Wickstrom.
Who?
Yeah, exactly. He's the Steel-type Elite Four member from X and Y. Although his debut was in the Karlos region, it's very obvious that this dude is at least sorta inspired by Great Britain with his, you know, knightly armor and medieval way of speaking. Luckily for him, we now have the Galar region, which is inspired by the UK. So now he finally has a place that he can call home, assuming that's where he's from. Is it racist to assume that's where he's from? Nah. Just like how Grimsley randomly appeared in Sun and Moon, Wickstrom could appear during your journey through Galar, and maybe you'll be able to face him in the post-game once your team is strong enough. And hey, if this really is the case, maybe that means he'd have his Aegislash, which would also mean that Aegislash is in the game. I can't believe this is what we come to now. I know this is a bit off topic, but if Aegislash isn't in Sword and Shield, I'm gonna lose my freaking shit! Number 3 is the marvelous Professor Sycamore. Now this Karlos character isn't as on the nose as Wickstrom, but I can still see him returning. The big hope we all have is to return to Karlos in Sword and Shield. But sadly, if Game Freak won't even add all the Pokemon in these games, then I doubt they're gonna add a whole extra region. However, I do believe Karlos and Galar are close to each other, so a good way to compensate for that is to have some Karlos region characters make an appearance in Sword and Shield. Maybe Sycamore goes to Galar to help Professor Magnolia in her research with Dynamax. The all-new Gigantamax feature is pretty similar to Mega Evolution, and that's Sycamore's specialty, so I can see them helping each other out. Maybe he'll even give you the Kalos starters during the main game. That way I can have my
Satoshi Gekkoga.
And since we're on the topic of Kalos characters, the last one I want to mention is Diantha. She only makes 2 appearances before your battle with her in X and Y, so she's definitely like the most least developed champion out of all the Pokemon games. Now obviously it'll be a long time before we get X and Y remakes, so Sword and Shield are probably the last time we're gonna get some sort of Kalos spotlight that makes sense for a while. So wouldn't it be cool if Diantha showed up in these games? Maybe not during the main game, but maybe she can make a surprise appearance in a post-game battle in the London-based city. I can totally see her being like the secret boss battle with Steven and Emerald, or even better, like Cynthia in Black and White. Now nothing will ever compare to the goddess Cynthia, but you know, a similar kind of appearance by Diantha would make her a lot more memorable. Number 5 is Ryuki from Sun and Moon. He's a famous musician from another region that came to Alola from another region. Did I just repeat myself? It's never stated what region he came from, so he's usually assumed to be from Sinnoh or Unova because they have a lot of dragons. Well, maybe Galar is his region. I can totally see Ryuki being a famous rock star from Galar that decided to spread his music to other regions. I'm pretty sure that Galar will be very dragon heavy, so this might just be where he's from. Alola was pretty consistent with its people, and you can totally see most of them belonging there. But Ryuki, nah, he always stuck out like a sore thumb. He's like the definition of a main anime protagonist in a classroom. You know the ones, super obvious to spot out. You don't really know much about him, which kinda makes him feel out of place. So maybe every appearance in Sword and Shield can give Ryuki a bit more backstory, or like anything that gives us more insight to his character. Now I know what you're thinking, didn't we already see Colress in Sun and Moon? Yeah, we did, but I can see him constantly reappearing from here on out into the series. Colress was a former scientist for Team Plasma, and he took over for N after he did the old peace I'm out. Now Colress was never actually evil, but instead he was just obsessed with finding the true potential of Pokemon. So if an evil team just so happened to show up and say,
Hey, we'll gladly fund your research if you join us,
he'd say yeah. After his introduction in Gen 5, we got Megas and Z moves for Gen 6 and 7, which led him to Alola. Well, now we're gonna have Dynamax and Gigantamax in the Galar region. So I'm pretty sure that Colress would be intrigued by this new phenomenon and take his butt to Galar to check it out. Who knows, maybe he's already there and actually helped develop the Dynamax band in the first place. It seems like something he'd do, you know, to help trainers use this new power. Now speaking of raw, masculine power, we've got Crasher Wake. Now we're obviously getting to the characters that don't seem as likely to show up like the first few, but it would still be cool to see him return. Now I know this choice might seem a bit random, but hear me out. Remember during that period within Gen 4 and 5 where Crasher Wake would just show up randomly? Yeah, that was weird, but a nice little cameo, I guess. Well, what if we got this in Sword and Shield? Just a quick little appearance and that's it, he's gone. That would be a perfect tease for Diamond and Pearl remakes if it's truly on the way, you know? He actually likes to travel around to participate in tournaments and such, so maybe the whole sporty version of gym battles in Galar has attracted his attention. That would be really cool. Number 8 is Zinnia. Now I already talked about how dragon heavy I think Galar will be with Ryuki, so if this is the case, I think that it would be really cool to see Zinnia make a comeback. She was an interesting character introduced in Oras who dedicated her whole life as being a lore keeper and summoner of Rayquaza. But after the events of the Delta episode, she just kinda disappears without a trace. I guess off to find new purpose or something? What I wanna know is, where did she go? Not just that though, cause she's still pretty mysterious and has a lot of explaining to do. Like, how does she know about the multiverse? And who the hell is Aster? No, not her Whismer, the other one that she's clearly always talking about. Apparently in an interview with Shigeru Omori, he says that Aster was a special person with powers that died? Okay? I don't know, man. Zinnia is just always super mysterious and I just want her to reappear again so we can learn more about her and what her new purpose even is after Rayquaza saved the world. Also, I want to hear her badass theme again. Honestly, that just might be the biggest reason why I want her. Number 9 is Lillie. One of my favorite characters introduced in Sun and Moon, and yes, I want her to come back. My reasoning for this is that after the main plot of Sun and Moon, Lillie finally becomes a Pokemon trainer and decides to travel to Kanto while at the same time trying to help out Lusamine after her whole little fusion with Nihilego. In the Ultra games, however, she still becomes a trainer, but this time she stays in Alola. Maybe during Sword and Shield, she travels to Galar. She could be a recurring character in those games and be an even more experienced trainer. It would be awesome to see this happen. Another big reason why I want Lillie in Sword and Shield is because of the anime. Anime Lillie doesn't really have a clear-cut goal like all the other companions of the Alola series do, which means she still has more potential to grow. If Lillie is in the Sword and Shield games, that would give the writers a reason to add Lillie into the Sword and Shield anime and keep her traveling with Ash. This time with a new goal. That would be so cool and help tie it to the Sun and Moon anime. I mean, we all know Rotom is staying with Ash thanks to the Sword and Shield's Rotom phone, so you never know. The possibility is still out there. Alright, I know I said these were in order of most likely to least likely, but I lied. Cause this last one is the one I think would be the most likely to appear in Sword and Shield, and that character is Professor Oak. Professor Oak has made his way into other regions before, so it isn't a total stretch. The biggest reason I believe good old Oak will make an appearance is because of this guy, Leon. The champion of Galar's ace Pokemon is none other than your boy Charizard. But why? Many have speculated it's because Charizard will be getting a badass new Gigantamax form, cause why else would he have it as his ace? If this is truly the case, then maybe we'll get Gigantamax forms for all of the Kanto starters. But where would we get them from? Certainly not the wild, cause that doesn't seem likely. I mean, you can get them in Alola through Island Scan, but that's very specific. My guess is that maybe you can get one of the Kanto starters from Professor Oak himself. That would be cool and would make a lot more sense. I can see him showing up in the post-game after you become the champion and gifting you with one of them. That way you can fully evolve them and get a badass new Gigantamax Kanto starter. Thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know in the comments what characters you want to see return in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Last but not least, make sure to live your life to the fullest and have yourself a damn good one.